Emphatic win for Arsenal, dominant from start to finish. Eddie Nketiah steps up with a big hat trick for him. His first 3 shots on target, all 3 hit the back of the net. It was a professional, an exhilarating, a much needed top-class performance from Arsenal this afternoon as they close the gap on Tottenham Hotspur at the top of the league, just like the North London rivals. Put that pressure now upon Manchester City ahead of their big game against Manchester United tomorrow. And it is the type of performance that we know, especially against the teams that are seen as smaller, lesser, bottom half of the table sides. It's the type of performances Arsenal fans have been asking for all season, to blow the team away, to give them very little chance, not just to control the ball, not just control the territories, but when you get opportunities to be clinical. And Sheffield United have shown this season in their games against Tottenham, games against City, games against Manchester United, they can be hard to break down at times. A very low block, very compact, very hard to move about. And what Arsenal did impeccably well today is they didn't panic. The first 20, 25 minutes was a little disjointed. It was a little hard to find the spaces. But what they did, we saw Spurs do it last night. Chelsea struggled to do it today, but Arsenal just kept on chipping away. And they waited for the opening, and it came from a brilliant, a delicious, in fact, cross from Declan Rice. Nketiah's first touch is out of this world, and he finishes it in the bottom corner. And then you saw even more relaxation set in. The ball was moving quicker. The Arsenal fans really believed in what it was they were doing. And the beginning of the second half, again, I thought Arsenal started well, and they get that second goal very quickly. Yes, it was slightly fortuitous in terms of the corner and how it fell to Eddie Nketiah, but he was the fox in the box. He puts the ball into the back of the net, and that's all she wrote. The game was then, in my opinion, out of sight. Eddie Nketiah, 8 minutes later, completes his hat trick with an absolutely sumptuous goal. It isn't just a great strike. The control, the turn, finding the space, and then burying it into the top corner to put the game beyond doubt. This then enables the substitutions to come in, the Ben Whites and the Martinellis to get some rest. Because Saka came off early as well with over 20 minutes of the game, including injury time. He came off with nearly 30 minutes of the game to go. And then towards the end of the match, Arsenal put the icing on top of the cake with Fabio Vieira winning the penalty and scoring it. And then Tomiyasu, who I think will find himself, it'd have been disappointed not to have started today with his recent form, gets that goal very late in the game, just to add the shine to it, in which I think the performance from Arsenal demonstrates. Now, we know Arsenal are a dangerous team. We know Arsenal haven't even found top gear yet this season. I've understood the criticism at times from their fans this year, but my personal belief has been they will find their top form at some point. To not have it in the first 9 to 10 games, for me personally, is nothing to stress about when you've seen the qualities and consistencies in last season, when you've seen the development of this squad over the past 3 to 4 years. And that, for me, was a top-class performance, but it's a demonstration of what is still to come from this side. What I also think Arsenal fans should be proud of today is the fact that we know they're title contenders, in my personal opinion anyway. I think a lot of you believe that as well. Today demonstrated the form that could come out of them. But certain players were dropped today, and rightfully so. There was always these claims from Arteta's detractors that he'll never drop Martinelli. He did today. He'll never sub Saka off early. He did today. And I think that there was good rotation. Gabriel Magalhaes starting on the bench. A lot of people, why? Did you really need him to win this game? No. That rotation wasn't there enough last year. And I think that's where Arteta has learned from his mistakes. I think Arsenal started the season off slower than last year by design, and there is more rotation by design. This, in my opinion, will yield dividends later on in the season. And I think the other area and final area today in which the Arsenal fans should be feeling somewhat confident about is their start to the campaign. It is 3 points worse off than last year, but less goals conceded. And I think they're only scored one goal less. And yes, they are on paper 3 points worse off. But after 10 games, being on 27, being on 24, it's still phenomenal. It's still phenomenal. And no matter what happens tomorrow, they will at least be level with the title favourites in Manchester City. A lot of people didn't believe that Arsenal could get themselves into the same or even a similar position that they found themselves in last year. And all those things together is why I think Arsenal fans should be not just over the moon with this win and the performance, but players are being dropped and rotated as you asked. The play was better today. You scored more goals today. You were more clinical as you demanded. The start to the season has been almost as good as it was last year. But when you factor in you're playing Champions League football and you're through to the next round of the League Cup, the Arteta detractors who state that we want to win every competition, this is a better start than last year. Yes, there's areas to pull on. Yes, there is areas to criticize, because there always is with any team. Even the great sides, you can find bits that you want to improve on. But overall, 10 games into the Prem, 3 games into the Champions League, 1 game into the League Cup. It's been a phenomenal start for Arsenal. It's why I say they're dangerous. It's why they're a team that rivals should fear from a competitive point of view. And this notion, this poppycock, that they were a one-season flash-in-the-pan wonder, I think is wrong. And a few people saying, well, why can you say Arsenal are in the title race and not Tottenham? Watch my match reaction last night. The title race hasn't begun yet, but I believe Arsenal will be there. There's a fundamental difference there. So I believe they will be title contenders, if you want me to reword it so that it doesn't hurt feelings. But that's my belief based on almost 2 years of seeing Arsenal's improvement and them getting to this level. There is a body of work that says they can compete for the title. In terms of performances, listen, Eddie Nketiah, top class today. No doubt about it whatsoever. We saw that with the goals. I know Arsenal fans will say, though, they want more, and I think they're right to say that. Celebrate the hat trick, praise the hat trick. Well done, Eddie. However, and there is a however here, he needs to start scoring more regularly. He can't just get a hat trick today and then dine out on that for 10 matches and barely score again. He has to push on from this point. Whether he can do that or not is another question. I thought defensively, again, very, very, very solid today from Arsenal. I don't even want to praise anybody in their defense, because I felt that it was just relatively untroubled but very comfortable. But I do want to praise Zinchenko. Because of the low block that Sheffield United played, it was the right choice, the absolute right and correct choice to play Zinchenko over Tomiyasu, because they had to move the ball. And in fact, you go look at Zinchenko's heat map. He basically plays the number 10 today. Tomiyasu doesn't have the technical ability to do that. So that was a tactical piece of genius from Mikel Arteta. But I also want to shout out Declan Rice today again, because for me, some will say it's only Sheffield United, but it isn't about it only being Sheffield United. It's about the consistency, genuinely the consistency of Declan Rice this season. Whether it's been against Manchester City, whether it's been against Champions League teams home and away, whether it be against the cannon fodder, in games where I have seen good quality Arsenal midfielders, good quality midfielders in the Premier League, kind of go missing at times. This man's consistency this season has been nothing short of spectacular, considering he's the record British signing. And a lot of top money signings in Premier League history have failed to live up to the expectation and the pressure that surrounds it. And it was another, for me, day where he proves his world-class ability. Proves it again today. Not because it's against Sheffield United, who, by the way, 1 minute people say there's no easy games in the Prem. The next minute, when you praise a performance against a team like Sheffield United, they say, I do Sheffield United. He's done it against so many teams, good, but he isn't just somebody that rises up for the big games. He isn't just somebody that does it against a small team. So far this season, Declan Rice is doing it against everybody. And by the way, he was doing it against everybody in a West Ham team. This is an absolute phenomenal player. A phenomenal player that Arsenal have gone and purchased. And they should be very, very proud indeed of what he is doing. And he starts a life at Arsenal. But as I say, this was an emphatic, dominant, professional performance from Arsenal today. A clear demonstration of what is to come from this team this year. Now, you may be someone that doubts Arsenal. You may be somebody that doubts Arteta, and that's entirely up to you. I think it's absolutely right to have criticized previous performances and elements of it, but my belief stays the same as the beginning of the season. I believe by design, Arsenal have started off in a lesser gear, at a slower pace. They had dropped beginning of the season. There was whinging about who was starting. Today, more rotation. These are things that I believe will pay dividends come April and come May, as and when Arsenal are in this title race. There'll be more energy in the legs. There'll be more fitness in this squad. And it means if they're in that title race, they have a bigger chance of winning the Premier League, which is what all these games now are about. That foundation, that springboard to put you into that home straight later on down the campaign. By the way, people, make sure like buttons are being smashed. Make sure you are subscribing to the Football Terrace as well. And I know the Real Madrid game, a lot of people have been interested in that. I'm sure that people will be here. Jude Bellingham with a brace to win that game away from home at the Camp Nou. I will say this. I know it's not we don't cover them on the channel unless it's Champions League. But what I haven't seen the goals or anything, but I'm just saying it now. Everyone knows how important I think goals are. What a player Jude Bellingham is. What a player Jude Bellingham is. This guy, to be a midfielder, to go to Spain and to do this. And I'm going to say this as an Englishman as well. So many of our top talents in the UK have gone abroad and absolutely flopped, especially when they've gone to the big boys. What he is doing is absolutely, for a midfielder, that 10 La Liga games and he's got 10 goals as a midfielder. I know some of them are tap-ins, but goals are goals. You can't discredit them. What a man he is. Super Chats here says, I hope this hat trick will bring more confidence. I'm sure it will bring more confidence for Nketiah. I do. Fluidity back today. Mikel Arteta spot on. Great performance. Yeah, I think he was. Kane did a Beckham versus... yes, he did. I saw he got a hat trick today. They won 8-0. It's a crazy game, actually, looking at... I can't wait to watch the highlights of that later. But yeah, I saw that goal from Kane. Eddie Nketiah, hat trick before Rashford. Also, Odegaard. No Odegaard 5-0. Not missed. Look, I do think Odegaard needs a rest or being dropped. So I do think he needs that. But I don't become hyperbolic with it. You're still going to need Odegaard many, many, many more times this year. In terms of a hat trick before Rashford, yeah, fair play. Well done to him. Like, he done really well. I'm not going to use it as a stick to beat one of my players over the head with, though, but thank you. Maybe it's my Asian bias, but I am tired of Lee and Brandon's saying Tomiyasu is not good enough. Game over. Now do us a favor and beat City tomorrow. Look, I've never understood the criticism of Tomiyasu. He doesn't really pass the eye test, but again, I think defensively he's nearly always perfect. Yes, he's had mistakes. Yes, he's done things wrong, but so's Maldini, so's Yap Stam, and they're the best of the best of the best. So I think Tomiyasu gets nowhere near the credit that he deserves. 1, for his quality, 2, for his versatility. And yeah, I was happy that he got... look, I'm not an Arsenal fan, but I was happy for him that he got his goal today. I feel like his performances recently have deserved it. Arsenal's defense impressive. Teams aren't going to get a sniff. Yes, even on the counter today, they absolutely stopped everything. Genuinely today, on that counter, everything, they stopped absolutely everything. Bellingham owning the Camp Nou. Yeah, it's full time there as well, I think now. This kid just goes from strength to strength to strength to strength to strength. And fair play to the young man. Time to bring my panel out now to have... what the hell is Jason wearing? Oh, my God. Are you dressed as a fucking burrito? Oh, my God. Listen.